Hey, what's going on? It's another day. I'm just trying to live my life. And today, I wanted to discuss porn, and let's talk about how it's just ruining men. It's just ruining our mental health. It's ruining our self-esteem. It's ruining our clarity, and it's ruining our peace ultimately. A lot of times we go to porn, we're just so used to doing it that we don't even think nothing of it. And we even lie to ourselves, think that we're getting a reward. And our brain is tricked where we actually getting some dopamine and we're getting like some false reward pleasure out of it. But you suffer from this consequence. And it's like for me, every time I did it, it just really killed my self-esteem. And not only that, it killed my confidence. And, the more and more you consume, the more and more damaging it got. And, I'm an awkward dude already as it is. So the more and more I did do it, shit, I feel like it made me even more awkward than anything. But I feel like as I actually stopped, I realized so much stuff. Like I got so much clarity. I got so much peace. I'm able to control my emotions. I'm able to control how I react. And all that was linked to porn, and I had no idea. And porn has gotten to the point where like the easy access, like there's so much free porn, and not only that, people get to the point where like that doesn't even do nothing for them, so they got to step it up to a whole nother level. That's how bad the addiction can get. So then they go to like, say like a site like OnlyFans and stuff like that, and then they bring it to a whole nother level and stuff like that, just so they can have like a connection with the porn. And some of these guys, they just go extreme. The more extreme, the better. And it's crazy. A lot of times these guys think they talking to a girl, on them sites and stuff like that, but the whole time they talking to a dude. And nobody knows a dude's brain better than another dude. So, you just telling them whatever they want to hear. And, it made me realize, being involved in the industry, how much men actually need help. Because I know myself, I need help, and I didn't even know how to really stop. Like, it just took over my life, and just constantly consuming. And like I said, you go one step above porn, you go to what, girls on Instagram, whatever you want to do, then you can go to paying for sex workers and stuff like that, and you get to a whole nother level, and it can really control your life if you allow it to. And it's gotten to a point where like the easy access, it's not doing any good. It's just destroying men. If anything, I feel like the self-esteem of men probably has to be at an all-time low this day and age. I don't got the science to back it up, but I'm just saying it can't be any good, because I know the damage that it caused me, and I know how addicting it really is. It's like so addicting. There's just so much flavor the week, every single day. It's just, it really gives you this false sense of a reward, and you get this dopamine rush just from it. And it's toxic. And not only does it hurt your mental health and your self-esteem, but it ruins your relationships. All that energy you spent doing your thing and stuff, you can be using that elsewhere, but instead you using all that energy to watch porn. And the more and more you do it, the more and more you consume, like you start to get drained of your energy. And like somebody starts coming at you about something, and you just already have a short patience, so it makes you confrontational, and it makes you overreact, or maybe to a degree say things that you shouldn't be saying. And it's just really bad. And like I said, I was involved in the industry, and it made me realize how much men actually need help. Like I said, a lot of times, like guys on these sites like OF, OnlyFans and stuff like that, they think they talking to a girl, but they talking to a dude. And the porn industry has gotten so toxic and stuff like that. There's so many different kinks and stuff like that, and this shit's not healthy. It's just rewinding your brain to a whole nother level. And not only that, it's just ruining relationships, because it just makes you have like these false expectations and stuff like that, just watching and consuming so much, and it's just destroying. I have a book that's going to discuss all of that, and discuss on how to stop and why it's beneficial to stop. And that's going to come out real soon if anybody's interested. But I feel really passionate about this, because I know myself, I didn't have anybody to look up to get help or seek the help that I needed. And sometimes you just need to hear from somebody who's actually been through the experience, somebody who's actually overcame it. And I feel like I've overcame a lot, and I've overcome I'm gonna be real with you. That it was by far the hardest addiction to overcome, because it's that addicting. Like I said, I was going to that for as long as I can remember. And like, you in a good mood, you go to porn. You in a bad mood, you go to porn. You in a sad mood, happy mood, okay mood, whatever the case is, you know, you're always going to porn, and that option is always there, and it's not healthy. So we need to build a community. We need more men out there trying to inspire other men to make healthier decisions, because I realized how much more clarity and how much more, you know, better I feel and stuff like that. You know, I have confidence and stuff like that to a whole nother level that I didn't have, you know, while I was consuming porn constantly on all that. It's really messing up the self-esteem of men everywhere. And, you know, there's a better way, and there's healthier ways. And, you know, it's okay, like, to stop. You know, a lot of people don't even want to admit that they have a problem. You know, some people say, oh, I only do it once, you know, every other day, or I do it once a week, you know, or, you know, I always, you know, told myself, like, once I actually stop, you know, I can go back to normal. And I convinced myself that, you know, it's okay. You know, even though I'm in a relationship, you know, I still can control my urges. I continue to have to do it. And, you know, it was unhealthy, and it's not even fair for your partner. So, you know, there's a better way, and we got to really spread this message, because, you know, I can see the good that it has done in my life. It has really benefited my mental in a way. You know, we're always going to have all other trials and tribulations. You're always going to have all these other stresses, this and that, and they're always going to come and go. But I realized stop watching porn actually made it easier for me to overcome some stuff. And, you know, if you overcome that, you can overcome anything. You know, like I said, you know, it's always important to just prioritize your health and prioritize your mental health. And we need to be strong as men. You know, it's messing up our masculinity everywhere, and, you know, it's not good. So, you know, let's spread this message. Let's keep this message going. If you like the message, you know, leave a thumbs up, subscribe below, and I'll see y'all next time. Salute.